In today's class, we're going to discuss onward what is called as joint ventures. So under this topic, we're going to see what is the meaning, definition of joint ventures, what are the major reasons why do companies join together, and we're also going to see the advantages and disadvantages of joint ventures. So before we get inside the class, we will just have an idea about what is called as joint ventures. So when you look at this image, we are able to make out that two hands are shaking together. It is not just a handshake. Here, joint venture means this image is representing how two or more companies or two or more persons are joining together in order to create a new company by combining or by pulling out all their resources, their strength, all their expertise, knowledge, technical assistance, everything of two or more companies or two or more individuals are being joined together to create a new business. So next we'll see onward what is called on about as a joint venture. So joint venture means it is an entity formed between two or more parties to undertake an economic activity together. That is, when two or more business or persons join together by combining or by pulling out all their strength together for an economic purpose. Economic purpose means it is for commercial activity. They want to do something and make profit out of it. So, for the purpose of making profit, if two or more people or two or more companies join together to start a new business, that is called as joint venture. So, whenever they create a joint venture agreement, the parties they agree to share on about their revenue, their expenses and control of the enterprise. That is, to what extent they are going to share the expenses, to what percentage they are going to share the revenue, and who has got more control over the enterprise. So all these things will be decided and it will be recorded in the joint venture agreement. And the joint venture agreement may be created for one specific purpose or for a continuing business relationship. Suppose like for a construction of a dam. For doing this particular job alone, two or more companies may join together. As soon as the dam construction is over, these two companies they get separated. Or sometimes two or more companies join together for a continuing business relationship. They don't have any time period. They don't have any particular task. They keep on doing business jointly for a long period of a time. So joint ventures may be created for any particular task or it may be for a longer time duration. So next we'll see onward what is the definition for a joint venture. So here we got a very simple definition. Joint venture is an enterprise in which two or more investors share ownership and control over the property rights and operation. So what we infer from this definition is joint venture is an enterprise. It's a business or it is a firm where two or more investors, that is two or more person or two or more businesses, they are going to join together by creating a new company whereby they decide certain things, that is on what ratio they are going to share the ownership and who is going to control over the property of this newly created joint venture enterprise. So next we'll see onward what is the reasons why do companies have to join together. So here we have on about some 9 important reasons that makes two or more companies to join together. The first one happens to be pooling of financial resources. So what happened? Like there are certain projects that may require heavy investment. So like 1000 crore, 5000 crore or even more than that. In that case, it may not be possible for a single firm or a company to arrange for such a financial strength. So in this case, two or more business giant may combine together and they may meet the capital requirement of the business. Next is the knowledge of two firms are going to get joined together. The experience of two or more investors are going to get join together. Next reason may be the skills of two or more companies are going to perform together. Next reason is the expertise of two or more companies is going to be utilized by the newly created joint venture firm. Sharing of technical know-how. So the technical strength and capability of two or more companies are going to get joined together, and R&D department may be strengthened. And next one, technical application, like development of a new software or like a development of a new programming language. So whatever it may be, the strength of two or more companies or two or more individuals, when they combine together, it becomes a mass strength, and that becomes the greatest advantage for a joint venture enterprise. So next we'll see on about what are all the reasons or what are all the advantages as to why, okay, what are all the advantages of creating a joint venture enterprise. There are 6 major advantages are there, and the first advantage is risk sharing. Suppose if something goes wrong, if there is a product failure or if there is a heavy loss, in that case the risk will be shared by two or more companies. Instead of the risk falling on one single person or on one single company, it will be shared by two or more companies. So that is the greatest advantage of a joint venture firm. Next one, economies of scale. So they can reduce the labor cost, they can reduce the cost of production because the strength of two or more companies have joined together. That makes them to reduce the labor cost and the cost of production. Next advantage is market access. The market strength of two or more companies are joined together. Suppose like if an Indian firm is going to join hands with a foreign company, Indian products will now be sold even in a foreign market. So it becomes easy for an Indian firm to enter the foreign market. Next advantage is exploring the global market. So what happened? The joint venture firm finds it very easy to enter a global market because they have joined hands with the global partner. And next advantage is easy acquisition of other entity or a business. So this joint venture firm can easily buy another firm because they got sufficient capital, because they are the strength of two or more companies, so they can easily acquire or buy another firm or a company. Cost efficiency, they can reduce their cost of production because the strength is very high. So all these are the 6 major advantages as to why joint venture firms are being created. Next, we'll see onward what are all the disadvantages of joint ventures. So we have on about 7 major disadvantages. The first one, it is a lack of equal involvement. So when two or more firms join together, we can't expect that both the firms will contribute equal amount in terms of the work to the joint venture enterprise. There may not be equal involvement from both the sides. That may happens to be a greatest disadvantage. Next one, cultural differences. It happens when both the companies are from different states or from different countries. In that case, cultural difference may be a biggest problem faced by a joint venture firm. Example like if an Indian firm joined hands with a foreign company, they definitely face on about cultural differences, language problem, language barriers and all those things. Restricted flexibility. So in that case, what happened? Because it is a baby or it is a product of two or more companies, they have restricted flexibility. They may not be flexible, they may not be able to compromise commonly on certain issues because any decisions will be a combined decision of both the companies. Extensive research and planning is required. So creating a joint venture is not an easy job. Lot of research work and lot of planning is required because if something goes wrong, it is going to affect both the companies. Lack of clear communication. It normally happens because anything cannot be decided by a single company. Both the company representatives should be discussed before taking any decision, and there are chances of misunderstanding and miscommunication to happen between the companies. And unreliable partners. If the partners are not trustworthy people, it is definitely a big problem in a joint venture. Creation of competitor. Sometimes a joint venture firm may be a competitor to the original business of these two firms. So all these are the 6 major disadvantages of joint ventures. So lastly, we'll see onward what are all the strategies of joint venture firm. So they have on about 7 major strategies before they create a joint venture firm. The first one, it is joint venture partner should be a strong and trustworthy partner. That is, the success of a joint venture firm depends on how far you have joined hands with a strong and with a trustworthy partner. Okay, if your joining company is very good, they are very strong, they are very reliable person, they are very trustworthy person, means definitely to a greater extent your success of your joint venture firm is assured. The next strategy is development of strong and long-lasting relationship. As I already told you, like more than creating a joint venture for a particular project, joint ventures created for a continuing and long-lasting relationship will always be very fruitful both for the society as well as for the benefit of both the companies. Equal contribution. So both the companies should make equal contribution in terms of capital, in terms of physical assets, in terms of labor and all these things, so that we can reduce the problem arising between these two companies. And next strategy is whatever you contribute, it is better to have everything in a written format, that is in the form of a written agreement between the joint venture firms in terms of their capital contribution, in terms of their profit sharing, in terms of the resource contribution on all those things. Next, well-defined business model. Which business model they are going to adopt, on what basis they are going to do business. So what pattern of business they are going to follow. Everything should be very clearly defined. And flexibility is another important criteria that is expected for the success of joint venture firm between the companies. And last but very important strategy is, even if something goes wrong, in spite of taking all possible effect, they should always have an exit route, like an exit entry. Sometimes if something goes wrong also, both the firms should know how to immediately dissolve on about a joint venture firm. So in that way, they should have an exit plan in times of emergency or in times of unforeseen events or situation. They should have an exit plan of how to dissolve a joint venture firm. So in today's class, we had seen on about what is joint venture, meaning, definition, and then reasons why joint ventures are needed, advantages, disadvantages, and what are all the strategies to be followed for the success of a joint venture firm. Thank you.